Good evening. Welcome in Daily UPSC Editorial audio program. Scepter and Substance, The Times of India. Janta Connection, The Happiness Engine, The Economic Times. Now the full editorial. Scepter and Substance, The Times of India. Symbol acquire meaning when their promise is delivered. The Sengol or scepter from Tamil Nadu that was presented to Jawaharlal Nehru in 1947 has become a symbol of how India has overtaken the erstwhile colonial ruler UK, not just in economic size but other areas. This one scepter has perhaps received more attention than the two that were part of the coronation ceremony of the UK's latest monarch. More to the point, a scepter, an ancient emblem of authority and used over centuries across different civilizations, is an emblem. It represents an underlying promise. Without the promise delivered, it's just an over decorated stuff. India's parliament is the primary vehicle for the promise of democratic governance, the smoothness of parliamentary functioning, and the quality of its output will influence India's future. And not just the parliament session, it is also work carried out in the interim by multiple committees that matters, for they generates useful inputs for policy. In these areas, India's parliamentary performance has fallen short, and that is far more significant than the choice of a scepter. Uh, symbol Symbols are undoubtedly important as they serve as the focal point. However, if the underlying substance falls short of expectations, a symbol can quickly lose its meaning. India's parliamentarians should head the lesson of the hollowed out UK monarchy. The pomp and regalia, notwithstanding, it is the scandals and double standard that get more attention globally. Is strip a symbol of its underlying substance. All that is left is a cari- caricature. Parliament should avoid such a self goal. India is at a critical moment. India is at a critical moment faced with a small window to reap its demographic dividends. Parliamentarians should focus on making the most of this limited opportunity. Symbols are all are very good, but a productive parliament is much better. Janta connection for Manipur, India must revisit its Myanmar policy. Amit Shah has pitched for dialogue and promised to deal a fair hand for all stakeholders in still tense Manipur. The state government too needs to step up. So far, it has failed to anticipate the violence or clamp down on it. But there is a foreign policy dimension to the crisis. Neighboring Myanmar is part of the problem. Last week, both government of India and Manipur told the Supreme Court that trouble begins with the crackdown on poppy cultivation of Manipur Hills by illegal immigrants from Myanmar. It is true New Delhi needs to have a serious word with Nepida. Since the Myanmar coup in 2021, India has avoided any criticism of the Janta action, which have included airstrike on domestic populations. This in turn has seen refugees flood across the border into India, where many share ethnic kingship ties. While New Delhi has long-standing relations with the Burmese military and doesn't want to push it into Beijing's arm, it is clear that the civil war in Myanmar is having direct repercussion on India's northeast. New Delhi should recalibrate ties with the Janta. It has card to play here. The Janta needs India's support against powerful insurgents like the Arakan army, and is also wary of becoming a Chinese puppet. Plus, all democratic forces in Myanmar are ready to side with India, viewing China as the Janta's main sponsor. India should use this leverage and get the junta to halt its operations in the border regions, stem the flow of refugees into India. Rest of Manipur will get some breathing space. Breathing space. The Economic Times, the happiness engine. To be happy in life or work and results are not relevant. It is about cherishing the process. Harsh Goenka, the writer, is chairman RPG Enterprise. The other day I conducted a social experiment on Twitter. I posed, imagine a satisfying man sitting in a beautiful park on a hot day. Imagine another man sitting in an AC room overlooking the same park in a nice apartment block. What is most important, the cool comfort and the apartment, or being satisfied and in nature? Who is happier? About one third of the responses felt it was but natural that the man overlooking the park sitting in cool comfort was happier. A smaller proportion preferred a satisfied man in the park, but most important was the significant percentage that had a more philosophical reaction to the question. My friend Pritesh Nandi said, happiness depends on the way you look at life and make life choices, while another said, we mistake pleasure for happiness, and that is the problem. This brings us to the fundamental question of happiness. Are our measures of happiness based on real parameters? Is true happiness something to be achieved at the end of the journey, or is it the journey itself? We are born naturally happy. Nature itself is a source of happiness, drawing us away from materialistic cravings, which is probably one of the reason why certain people in ensconced within their pure natural habitat are among the happiest in the world. Happiness is also evident in the innocence of children. We all seek happiness but seldom find it because we either allow other emotions to get ahead of it, or we seek it in the wrong places. General thinking would have us believe that the man outdoors on the hot day is a lot more distressed than a one in the apartment. For many, the latter would seem more contented, happier, and secure, while the man in the park perhaps suffering. There is a widespread belief that happiness comes with prosperity through financial security is important, and there appears to be a direct correlation among income, security, and happiness. Its impact begins to reduce after a certain threshold. However, my little social experiment reveals a profound fact about us. We have got programmed to seek happiness through results, achievements at the workplace, grades at school, recognition by peers. It is the result-based gratification we tend to associate with happiness that has taken us away from our natural state of being happy with small things in life. And strangely, sometimes even an accomplishment does not bring the jubilant we expect. I remember once, after a particularly long and grueling bout of negotiations during the acquisition of a company, which eventually ended favorably, I was rather surprised at my emotions. I was so sure that success would bring me to the greatest happiness. Instead, there was just a sense of relief that it was over. I learned something very important that day, and I have tried to practice ever since, that the end result is not relevant. It is the toil, the diligence, the breakthroughs, the slip ups, the breaking up, and the making up, and all the small buildings block of the deal that are not so relevant. The happiness was to be found uh, within these efforts. How best could I pursue happiness through everyday routines? How best could I bring happiness into the deliberations by supporting someone, by bringing about reconciliation, by breaking a deadlock? How best could I discover and bring out moments of joy and simple delights in the seemingly intense job attend? It was about cherishing the process. The memories of the journey became more evident than in the trophy at the end. The need for course correction becomes so greater as we get immersed into the world of social media and digital life. The further we move away from family face-to-face interactions and from engaging with the natural habitat around us, the more we may become disconnected with understanding and achieving happiness. Happiness at the workplace has also become an important differentiator in a competitive talent landscape. Work-life balance is being increasingly short. Besides spending times with family and friends, we must also work at other things that bring sustained happiness. Practicing gratitude, caring and giving, sustaining relationships, and working at mind and body wellness. Simultaneously, it is important to maintain a positive outlook in general. Practicing fairness, break down barriers, bring more transparent, being supportive and compassionate, observing integrity, and focusing on collective functioning. As a philosopher once famously said, happiness can never be external. It is all in the mind, and it needs to be worked on continually. So perhaps both the man in the park and the man in the conditioned room may have been equally happy or unhappy, depending on their outlook and thinking. Thank you.